What it do, Dream Team? It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with which F1 driver will lose their seat in 2023. I don't know all the F1 drivers on the grid right now. So dang, if I knew all the F1 drivers, maybe I could say, but I don't know. But they finna tell us anyway. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. What we doing?
Which driver will lose the F1 seat this season? Tommy, we are going to be talking about drivers under pressure.
And there's quite a few of them. 4 of the 20 drivers we've picked out here, and I think that's quite a big percentage of the grid when they're, meant to be the best in the world, and 4, I'd say, have had not the best seasons, to say the least.
Let's see if, firstly, we think whether or not they're going to get binned off, and we'll also rate it out of 10, won't we, Tommy, about how likely it will be. 1 being, nah, no chance. 10 being, see you later, mate. The first driver at risk, Lance Stroll. So this comes in from O'Quilt.
Don't ain't his dad like the big guy don't he own a team or something like that? In the show he do, maybe he don't anymore, but I thought his dad owned a team, so it can't be Lance Stroll, can it?
And they say, yes, very unlikely considering his dad's role. However, looking at it on paper, Stroll is really holding Aston Martin back this year.
Yeah, I feel like as long as his dad, big guy in charge, Lance Stroll got a seat. And know what I'm saying? As much as fans might not like that, or they feel like Aston Martin is holding back, like, if I had a son, I was capable of to be in that position, my son would always have a seat too. As a dad, you know what I'm saying? But dang.
When you compare what Alonso is able to get out of the car. And another one from @YouBetterLeggett. In a fair world, it would be Lance Stroll. Both the race pace and qualifying gap to Alonso is just unacceptable. But we all know that's not going to happen. So Lancey Poo, I've given this a 3 out of 10. In terms of likelihood, 1 being no chance, 10 being 100% going to happen. There is a small chance that Lawrence Stroll wakes up one day and goes, maybe this ain't worth it. Maybe my son's success is not going to happen here, but I can still be successful as the father. But the majority of me thinks the only reason he's in Formula 1 is to live vicariously through Lance Stroll. So that's why I've given it a 3, because I don't think it's completely impossible, but very unlikely.
Nah, he's not going to wake up and think that. As a father, bro, that's your son. Like, he's going to be like, I feel like he's only going to feel success, like, through Lance being successful. That's where he, you know what I'm saying? That success, that pride, that happiness comes in. But it's not going to be like kick your own son out of the seat. Like, nah, can't see it. I give it a 1 out of 10. I give it because I done joined the team. Now that they talk, it's 2 of them. They don't know about me joining the team, but now I'm on the team. I give this a 1 out of 10. No shot on earth this happens.
And I'm going to give it a 1 because I don't think he's going to lose his seat this season. I don't think there's any chance he's going to lose this season. I think the question's going to be later on. Maybe. I've seen a lot of people recently talk about Lawrence is a businessman and, there's a lot of people investing in Aston Martin and he owns Aston Martin now and they need success. And I think at the moment, Lance is fine because it's not like a Perez where, they've got Daniel Ricciardo on the sidelines and everyone's like, oh, Daniel Ricciardo. If Lance Stroll is out, it's Felipe Drugovich with the greatest of respect, 1 F2, good driver, but he's not like an elite driver that's jumping into that seat alongside Alonso and going to score loads more points.
How do you know?
Yeah. Well, just
if you're listening, Felipe, I back you.
Well, I think you'd do well, but I'm not talking about like.
Would he do better than Lance?
He may well do. I mean, at the moment, Lance is 80 points off Alonso, I think, or something ridiculous. Comes to the end of the season, Lance is 150, 200 points behind Fernando Alonso. Then the pressure really ramps up because. Say we get to the end of the season as well, and these Aston Martin upgrades that they're hyping up, they're going to go into that new season with a genuine chance, and Lance could cost them the Constructors' title. And that's when Lawrence has to make that really big decision of course I want my son to be in Formula 1 and be successful, but he's holding back my business and that team. And there's going to be sponsors, investors, everything putting pressure on that because Lance could end up costing them.
So the reason I went...
I guess that's a good point when you talk about investors and sponsors and everything. But it's like at the end of the day, I feel like as long as Lawrence is owns the team, bro, he's not. No matter how much pressure, I just don't see him kicking Lance out of that seat. Had Lawrence had a good season in F1, like, I guess I don't know what we would define as the different definitions of good season for most people, but has he had a decent season in F1 yet?
For 3 rather than 1, because you said no chance. You don't become a billionaire without being ruthless. I just think that there is that small inkling where maybe Lawrence just snaps and goes, no, Fernando Alonso is now my son. I've adopted him, and we will get a different driver in.
We said it would take some kind of miracle for Lance to lose his seat, and that miracle might well be Fernando Alonso.
Okay, let's move on now to our next driver, Nick De Vries.
I've heard a lot of. I do not know Nick De Vries personally. Like, I never seen his name, like, or watched him race. I guess. Well, I have watched him race, but I didn't know he was racing. I don't know, but I've seen a lot of videos where a lot of people talking about Nick De Vries losing his seat. That this is gonna be his last year or something. He gonna lose it. I don't know him. Like I said, like I know other drivers, but I ain't seen good things about Nick.
So a suggestion at CritRTV, and they said, De Vries is the correct answer here. A decorated and seasoned open-wheel driver not at all performing. I could see Nick out, Daniel in happening. Also, it's Red Bull. It's what they do. This is coming from an RBR fan. And another suggestion at One Tweet for Mankind. Probably Nick De Vries. They brought him on because they were losing Gasly and they didn't have a junior driver they were crazy about to see if he might have some crazy unseen potential. He's not doing well and there are Red Bull juniors waiting.
I will say an 8 out of 10, mainly because of all the drivers. This one seems the most likely. There are people, like the person said beforehand, waiting in the wings. There's so many reasons why I think De Vries could lose his seat, not just because he's not driving particularly well, but the person in charge of all these drivers in the Red Bull stable is Helmut Marko, and Helmut Marko has maybe been a little less ruthless than he used to be. Look what happened with Tsunoda. They kind of backed him a bit more than they normally would, and he's now performing quite well. But Nick De Vries didn't come from the Red Bull Junior program, and I do wonder if there's part of Helmut Marko that's like, you know what? This just shows that actually my decision's the best decision, and we should hire Red Bull Juniors.
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 in terms of possibility of Nick De Vries losing his seat this season. If he continues on the way that on the path that he is right now, there's no reason to keep him on. He had to at least be on the same level as Tsunoda, if not better, for him to keep a seat, in my opinion. He's very much going against the tide, as you say. He's not from the Red Bull Academy. They've got juniors waiting. They've got Liam Lawson, who is obviously doing incredibly well in pretty much everything that he's driving at the moment. The Red Bull program has always been very much, if you're not performing, you're out. So that's why it's a 9. Although I don't think it'll be Daniel Ricciardo that comes in for him. Realistically, it will probably be Liam Lawson, in my opinion. We recently received...
Nick De Vries up out of there. Sorry, Nick. Sorry. Like I said, I don't know Nick, but from titles that I've seen on numerous videos, and from what they said, it sounds like Nick just... And Red Bull they don't play that. They don't play that not succeeding crap. They don't play that. So Nick might be up out of there.
Some epic PC specialist systems for all our computing needs. And these are powered by Corsair IQ. Corsair IQ for your entire ultimate can be figure your own. Let's now move to our next driver, unfortunately, who is under pressure in our eyes. And it's Logan Sargent.
I don't think I've seen Logan Sargent. I'm still on season 2 of F1 Drive to Survive. I'm towards the end, but I don't think I've seen Logan Sargent yet either.
This comes in from @Trevor_SP22. Despite being a rookie, he struggled tremendously and Albon has destroyed him. I love that he's American, but he just can't get a grip on the car. So I have gone for a 5 out of 10.
Oh, he's American, bro? I was wondering, as I was watching the show, I was like, are there any American F1 drivers? Like, I know Haas is supposed to be like an American brand, like an F1 or what, American owned or whatever. But I was like, bro, is there any F1 like drivers that are American? do we just stick to NASCAR and not go for F1? Like, but Logan Sargent, American driver, that's dope.
For Logan Sargent, I'm sort of middle of the road. Obviously, not sort of done any kind of performances that make you sit up and take note. Albon, as Trevor says here, has destroyed Logan.
I like Alexander Albon, man. I like this guy, bro. He's cool. I watch him in the show, and I do like Albon.
To be honest, some of it you could say is expected with Logan. It's his rookie season and so on, but there have been rookies in the past that have done a lot better. He has that American tie, which I think we kind of played down a little bit. If he's not winning, then who cares? It doesn't really matter if, you got an American driver at the back of the grid. But I still feel like there is something to be gained from that. But again, it kind of comes back to, is there anyone really waiting in the wings?
I'm going to go for a 7 out of 10 then for Logie Sarge. I think at the end of the season he's going to be under a lot of pressure if he's still not performing against Albon. Of course, he doesn't have the upgrades yet, but even when he was on a level playing field, you can argue, he's still a rookie and Albon's got a bit more experience. But, I expected a bit more from him. He should be a lot closer to Alex Albon. Alex Albon's having a great season. He's a brilliant driver, but is he he's not Fernando Alonso, is he, with the greatest respect to Alex Albon? And a little disagreement I will say is that I think you mentioned about the whole American thing. Maybe I've not paid enough attention, but I don't think there's been a lot of hype around him other than maybe just banter memes about what the F is a kilometre and all that kind of stuff. And I'd argue that I actually don't really know anything about Logan Sargent. Logan's just gone a bit under the radar, and maybe that is because he's finishing 16th and 17th, so there's not a lot to talk about.
We now go to...
Yeah, that's 16, 17. Come on, Logan. We got to do better, my guy. We got to do better.
Our final driver, Sergio Perez.
No, Sergio! He's in second. Checo! He's in second in the Drivers' Championship. Why would he be on the hot seat? There's no way, Red Bull, right? I mean, Max is running off, it's dominating, but Max is dominating everybody on the grid. Know what I'm saying? Max is... No, but Sergio's in second right behind him in the Drivers' Championship, so you can't get rid of Sergio. Right?
So this comes from @SSRay. I don't think he's the worst, but Red Bull are not known for being easy on underperforming drivers, and his last 3 races have been terrible. Savage. What do you rate it?
He got third last race, right? I don't know when was this video made. 2 weeks ago, so this probably was before his last race.
Tommy?
End of the year, I'd say maybe a 3 out of 10. I think this all depends on how good that Red Bull is at the end of the season, because we've said there's so many times when we're talking about it that if that Red Bull is absolutely clear of the field, then Perez doesn't really matter. He's going to finish second or third in the title, but then they'll still win the Constructors' title because of Max and then him, and Sergio getting decent amount of points, if not spectacular. So if Aston Martin catch up, Mercedes, Ferrari, then Perez is under pressure because he could be costing them the title. Max needs a rear gunner. I don't want to sit here and say that Perez has been worse than what Gasly and Albon did, but I think if he carries on the way he is, you've got to put it into perspective that when Albon and Gasly were in that Red Bull against Max was finishing third, and then when they were, in the race, they were finishing 11th, 8th, 12th, whatever, because the midfield was really close. Whereas now, Perez has a bad race, and it's 5th, 6th, because the car is so good. So I think this...
Clearly not good enough, though, to secure P2s and 3s like Bottas did.
Well, exactly. So that's why I think he'd be under pressure if people catch up.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with a 1. I am categorically confident.
I agree with you. 1 out of 10, for sure.
That Sergio Perez will be at Red Bull next year. When you actually look at all the second drivers that have come into that Red Bull team, Daniel Ricciardo is probably the last person to have really actually extracted something from that Red Bull. So why would Red Bull risk putting another driver in that they don't know? It's a coin toss as to whether they're going to be able to get their head around the Red Bull philosophy. Perez right now, he's not the ideal number 2, but he's won this year. He's got it at some points. He's got the confidence. Not all the time. That's why he can't challenge for the championship. But Red Bull, I don't know why they would ruffle Max Verstappen's feathers as well. Why would they potentially bring a driver in that Max might not get on with as well? Those two get on very well. I'm sure Max likes him as well because there is not really any challenge over the course of a year. Perez will be in there next year, unless he bins it in every single race from here to the end of the season. Sergio's got a safe slot for next year, in my opinion. But let's see. I mean, Perez could bring it back. He has shown points this season. We were even speaking, can he challenge for the title? And now look at us. It's crazy how things can change so quickly in Formula One. We actually put a vote out. Which of these drivers do you think is most likely to lose their seat this season? 32,000 of you voted, and 77% of you voted for Nick De Vries as the most likely. 11% Logan Sargent, 9% Sergio Perez, and 3% Lance Stroll. I can guarantee that part is not based on performance, but based on his father. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening. Let us know in the comments section below what you or who you think the driver will be to lose their seat this season, if anybody, and we'll see you very soon for another piece of content. Bye!
Bye! The traditional ending now.
I am so hot.
Nah, those two guys are dope, man. Those two guys are absolutely dope. I liked getting to react to them, man. They're real cool. That's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. It's your boy D Neal. Out.